Hey guys, so I am doing this little bonus video, basically going into week 7 of my nursing school. I've been seeing a lot of videos where people are talking about things that they wish they had have known before starting school, or things that they wish they had did before starting nursing school and all that type of stuff. And one of the main things that I've been seeing is about how time consuming nursing school is. It is extremely time consuming because it's basically like, for school, you're in school like a job. So like 8 to 5 or 7 to 5, because like right now my schedule is 8 to 4:30. So I'm in school every day from 8 to 4:30. Then after I get out of school, I still have not done any studying. I haven't read anything after class. I haven't did anything to my notes. Nothing. That's just class. So when you get out of school, you're trying to get home and do all that type of stuff on top of you have multiple classes. So this is not like, oh, I just need to read for one class, or oh, I just need to do an assignment for one class. You're going to have anywhere from 3 to 7 classes of work to do. So like that's a lot of work to freaking do. And a lot of studying and things that you need to do. And if you work, that's going to make it even more cramped because you're trying to go to school, go to work, and then come home and try to do studying and homework and everything. And then God forbid you have children or you're married or anything like that, because now you're trying to fit that in as well, and it can kind of drive you crazy. Because like, for example, I did have, I'm not gonna say a breakdown moment, but it kind of was, because I was getting ready for, I think it was this past test 3, and I was already feeling under the weather. I was, that's for my fundamentals class, by the way, test 3 for fundamentals. And I was feeling under the weather, you know, Mother Nature was coming in, but I just hadn't been feeling right. I was feeling increased stress, and I did not really at first understand why. And it was just like I was super emotional, just, and I'm not talking about like the hormonal emotional, but it was just like something just did not feel okay with me. And once I really like sat down and started thinking about what it was, basically I went from having a honestly basic freaking job. I worked in a hospital's business office, and truthfully I could have done that job with my eyes half closed. Like, it was a really easy job that you didn't really have to think too much while you were there. And then when I would get off of work, I could go to the gym, I could come home, watch TV, take a nap, do whatever it was I wanted to do, and I didn't have to worry about doing homework or anything. Or if I was in school, typically that class was online, and when I would get home, like, I can submit those assignments pretty easily, but that was only maybe like once a week. It wasn't something where I was constantly having to study for it, because they were typically pretty easy classes. But all of a sudden I went from pretty easy classes or not having to go to school at all and study to I'm constantly studying. I'm constantly having to read. I'm constantly having to do homework, constantly having to do something. And I just felt overwhelmed. And the nuts part is, I'm passing the classes. Like, it'd be different if I was like failing, then it's like, oh my God, I should be overwhelmed. But I'm passing the classes, and not barely passing the classes. Like, I'm doing very well in my classes. Like I said, right now I have 2 A's and 1 B. I have an A in nutrition, an A in the medicine administration, and a B in my fundamentals class. So it's like I'm doing very well in my classes, so why am I, you know? And it's like, even with the B is not a low B, it's a, you know, a high B. So it's like, I'm not barely passing the classes, so I shouldn't have super been stressed out, or at least that's how I felt about it anyway. But really, it's kind of like when you go through a life change, sometimes it can kind of send you into a little bit of what I call like a mental shock, where even though it's not something that you would typically see as a stressor or something to give you anxiety about, all of a sudden you have anxiety and you're freaking out and you don't know why. You're just like, what is going on with my life? Like, woe is me type of thing. And so with that test, I didn't do as well as I done in my previous test and that I would like to, but I did pass the test. So I was like, okay, well, you know, in my head, I was kind of like, well, obviously I'm smart enough to do this. I can pretty much half-ass it and still and still make it. So I was like, okay, that's pretty good. So yeah, but I did have that moment. And if you have that moment while going through nursing school, that is normal. It's okay. Just get through it and get back to studying, get back to work, because you decided to go to nursing school for a reason. You got accepted into nursing school for a reason. If this is really what you want to do it. Like, if it was easy, everybody would be in the medical field. Like, I know plenty of people who has dropped out or flunked out of trying to become a nurse, and that's regardless of which level of nurse they were trying to become. I know quite a few people that's dropped out. So if it's something that you really want to do, stick to it. You can do it. Like, I have faith in you that you can do it, and I have faith in me that I can do it. And that's another thing that I have been kind of trying to use as, like, I guess mojo, or trying to like help me through nursing school, is positive vibes, good juju, you know, positivity, all of that type of stuff, which helps more than you think. If you go into something thinking you're going to fail, you're going to fail. I do believe that was Will Smith who says, he who says he can and he who says he can't are both normally right. Because if you feel like you can't do it, you're not going to do very well. But if you go into it feeling like, I'm going to knock the socks off of this thing, 9 times out of 10 you will, or you'll at least come close. And it's like, go into it feeling like you are going to kill it, and 9 times out of 10 you will. And I guess the last thing that I kind of wish that I had have known or did before starting nursing school is my study skills. I felt like I did start working on it before nursing school started, because I knew, for me having a degree already from my previous time in school, I was working harder, not smarter. And I knew with nursing school, with me having all of these classes, I had to try to do something different. Like, I could not be like trying to work super hard and not super retaining anything, basically, because sometimes that's what would happen with me with school. Like, I would be working really hard trying to study all this stuff, but my mannerisms of how I was studying was not working. So I did watch a few videos on here about how to study for nursing school and how other people studied. And so if I can find the girl's page that I took a lot of her pointers from, I'll link it down below. But some of the things that she said that really stood out, and I did see this on quite a few other people's pages as well, is to rewrite your notes after class. Regardless of if you have a PowerPoint or whatever handout or whatever you jotted down really fast in class, rewrite it afterwards. Because a lot of times when you're writing, you subconsciously remember it, even though you're not thinking that you're remembering it. Also, you can like add in other stuff to it. So like with my notes, if we're talking about the respiratory system, okay, and my notes only say that the respiratory system involves, you know, your lungs and your esophagus, and you breathe out your CO2 and you're breathing in your O2, oxygen. Okay, well, what else goes along with that? Like, you know, when your lungs clap, what happened with that? Like, it gives me the opportunity to add other things in my notes that may be on the test, or that helps you understand what it is better. Because that's like when we were doing the breath sounds, you know, adding in little things under, you know, the Strider breath sounds or the Runkai breath sounds and things like that helped me understand a little bit about what they were. Because if you understand it, you will do better on the test, because no matter what that teacher asks you, you can understand it. So you can kind of put yourself in that scenario to understand it. Whereas if you just read it to memorize it, you're probably not going to do well on the test, because all you've done is memorize that the Strider is a high-pitched breath sound that you can normally hear without a stethoscope. It's like, okay, well, you know, what happens when a person has Strider, or, you know, what can come from Strider, and so on and so forth, or what can you do to help with Strider? Because a lot of times with nursing questions and nursing tests, it's application. Like, they're going to ask you, okay, well, you know what it is, but how do you apply it? Or you know what it is, but what do you do? Or you know what it is, but why did they get it? Like, it's a bunch of stuff that, like, they're not just going to give you what is Strider. Every blue moon you'll get that question, and I appreciate those freaking questions, because that is like the easiest freaking point that I could get, is like the what is blank or whatever. But typically it's going to be in regards to application, prevention, and safety. Those are the main three like topics with all of our tests that we've come across: prevention, application, safety. Especially safety. My professors love safety. Like, safety, 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 patient safety, patient safety. That's all you're going to hear about is freaking safety. So yeah, like, that's one of the things that I took, along with writing in different colors. A lot of two of the girls that I watched said they were like, when things are colorful and pretty, you're more likely to want to read it, or you're more likely to remember it, versus if it's just in black ink on a white piece of paper, or in solid ink on a white piece of paper. I also was told that writing on yellow paper could help. My professor actually recommended that. Supposing someone did a study that said students remembered better when they wrote on yellow paper. So I did get some yellow paper. I tried it. I don't really know if it did me any better or any worse, which it might have actually helped now that I'm thinking about it. So, you know, try yellow paper. That may be a thing. Also, like I said, writing them out. I was told that typing is not as effective as writing, because basically a lot of people can type and talk like not thinking anything about what they're typing, but when you're writing, you have a hand-brain connection type of thing. So it's like you're writing and you're kind of remembering what you're writing, versus if you're typing, you may be typing, listening to music, and so on and so forth. Like, think about how many times you were sending a text message and you text what you were talking instead of what you were thinking. Like, a lot of times, like, texting or typing, you don't have that same like connection as you do with writing. So that was something that I did. Like, when it comes to the other things that I would see that people were saying, you know, they wish you had known before nursing school or whatever, a lot of those people were at least 2 semesters into their nursing school. So I don't have that experience yet. I'm pretty much just updating y'all as I go, so y'all can kind of see, like, it's my process or whatever, what's going on. So like I said in my previous video, this next semester is going to be much heavier. I am going to have I believe it's like 6 classes. Now, the 6 classes, some of them are 8 weeks, some of them are the full 16, and some of them do have clinicals attached to it. So that one class is basically 2 classes, so whatever. But that's pretty much it. If you guys have any questions, want me to talk about anything in addition, leave a comment, let me know. If you liked the video, give me a little thumbs up. But thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.